Mr. Coleman, would you please give us your full name and DOC number?
William Alfred Coleman, 90578.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Then we're going to conduct a parole interview with you. We'll talk to the warden for a few minutes after your interview, and then those persons who wish to have input will be allowed to say whatever they'd like to say. Today, we'll have Mr. Randy Meyer in opposition. He's the Assistant District Attorney from Jefferson Parish. After we have our hearing, you'll have an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to the board, and then we'll vote. Do you understand our process, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the matter of William Coleman, DOC number 90578, date of birth March 15th of 1961. He's a fifth-time felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of August the 1st of 2021, an adjusted good time date of January the 14th of 2049. He has a full term date of January the 8th of 2050, and he is currently serving a 50-year sentence on armed robbery, 2 counts of armed robbery after being adjudicated a habitual offender. Does that information sound accurate to you, Mr. Coleman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Coleman, your case has been assigned to Mr. Pete Freeman. Would you please answer any questions he might have?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Coleman, how old are you?
62.
How many years have you served on this charge?
Almost 24.
Okay, what's your educational level?
8th grade.
Okay. What was going on in your life that time? You went into these 2 stores and you armed robbed them. One you had a pipe. What was the deal?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but it was actually not supposed to be a robbery. It was supposed, I was giving up. I was tired of being in the state that I was in, and I heard about the street crimes unit that they had in Jefferson Parish, that most of the people that they try to apprehend either get life sentences or they shoot them on the street. So I figured, well, I'm gonna go mess with them. And I thought about it. Well, what can I do to get their attention? And that's what came up. I seen a lady standing outside doing the numbers on a gas pump. You know how they write the numbers down and everything like that. She had her door open. So I waited for her to go inside of the station, and I followed her in. And I told her, you know what's happening. And one thing led to another. I got the money, I left. But the whole idea was to try to get the police's attention. In other words, I was too scared to commit suicide. I was going to get them to go ahead and end this, because I was to the point that I was so sick of being the way that I was and the way that I was living. I just wanted it to be over. So it didn't work.
For the second one with the axe handle?
It was the same case because the first one didn't work.
Okay. Well, it don't look like the second one worked either. We're still talking to you.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. You know, do you have a drug problem? Did you have a drug problem?
I had a drug problem.
You had a drug problem. What was your drug?
I messed with just about everything. I wasn't hooked or stuck on one particular drug.
Okay. How old were you when you started using drugs?
Probably 12 years old.
Okay, so would you say you use different drugs daily? Weekly?
We'll say weekly.
Okay, even at the time of this robbery, it wasn't worse when all of this went down?
I wouldn't say that it was. I was using. I'm gonna say it's close. It was close.
What were you using?
Cocaine.
Okay, that's pretty serious drug there. All right, have you ever received any drug treatment?
Yes, sir. I finished a program at Angola, and I finished one here.
Okay. Why did you refuse to go to Blue Walters?
When was this that you're talking about? I don't remember doing that.
Okay, it says you had the opportunity to go to Blue Walters and you didn't go, even though you had agreed to go. That's a long-term substance abuse facility.
I know what the facility is, but I don't remember ever being, requested to go to Blue Water. I mean, seriously, I don't remember anybody ever approached me with that.
Your supervision history is let's just face facts, it's poor, very poor. You completed one probation satisfactorily, that was receiving stolen goods. You had a simple burglary, which you were revoked twice on. Then you had a simple burglary that you were revoked on due to these new charges, and you had another simple burglary you were revoked on. What's your problem under supervision? Why you can't be successful?
I guess most of my life, I didn't like being told what to do and doing my own thing, following the adrenaline rush. And I can't deny my whole life has been a mess. I won't deny that at all. But what I can say is something about this one here. I started actually really getting sick of myself. Well, actually, it started on the last one, but it didn't kick in until I got caught again. And I started seeing myself and most of the people that I was forced to have to live around, and I couldn't stand to see what I was looking at. And I said, that's me. How can I sit here and make judgment on these people? And it's exactly the same way I'm living in the same way I'm acting. So I started changing, and it came to a point that I didn't want to be the old me anymore. I didn't want to follow the adrenaline. I had to change something. I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what the problem was that was wrong with me to where I can't listen to nobody. And it seems like every time I come up against an obstacle, I throw my hands up. I don't even try. I just go back to doing the same.
Like to me that the same adrenaline you got from using all kind of different drugs is the same adrenaline you were getting from committing crimes.
Exactly.
Correct?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I've been approached several times and they stress my drug problem. But to me, the drugs was just a sidekick. I was getting off on what I was doing. I wasn't doing what I was doing to get drugs. I was doing the drugs because of what I was doing. If that makes sense.
Were you working at the time this happened?
That's the problem. Yes, I was. It wasn't that I was broke or didn't have money. I worked offshore. I made better money than anybody I know.
Yeah.
I made more money than my daddy. He owned his own business. It wasn't money. It was just, I was enjoying what I was doing.
Looking at the community attitude, the judge is opposed. Mr. Myers is here to speak for the DA's office. The sheriff is opposed. There was no comments from your family. And the victims, both are now deceased. Okay. Where do you plan to live and where do you plan to work if you get out?
Well, the classification department here is supposed to have me set up at a halfway house in a place called Faraday that comes with a job. They say a truck comes by once a week to ask the people that are staying there what their qualifications are, what they want to do, and they find work for you. And if the work works out, the people will keep you even after you get out of the halfway house. And he also stressed the fact that this little town Faraday has a strict police department and so forth. And he said, would I have a problem with that? And I told him, no, sir, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I said, in fact, I think that's what I would need. something to keep my head and my feet going in the right direction.
Okay, you got 3 write-ups. Last one was in 2018 for a fight. What went on with that?
Well, they stuck me in a work dorm, and I just happened to be stuck in the presence of people that don't have a job, so they don't have any reason to go to bed early or to be quiet or anything like that. And I did have a job, and they were keeping me up several times. I told them, man, if y'all want to play cards or something like that, I don't mind what y'all do or what y'all say or anything like that, but could y'all go up front? I got to get up in the morning. And they kept doing it. So I said, well, it seems to me that y'all must think I'm weak or something. And I said, but this has got to stop. And the next thing you know, we all on the block.
Okay, I'm looking at this form because it's got me concerned. Voluntary agreement for participation in the H.J. Blue Waters treatment program. And it says you agreed to participate, but you never went. This was on 8/24/23. So did you agree to go or did you not agree to go?
I don't remember ever being approached with that.
Mr. Freeman, that's a form that we get them to sign that's saying that if the board deems it appropriate for him to go, that he would be willing to do so.
Okay, thank you, Warden. Appreciate that. You've taken a pretty good bit of classes. What class you took you got the most out of?
That would be living in balance. Living in balance, I still have memories of some of the things that went on in there, particularly some of the movies that they had showed us and the speeches that they had the people get up and give pertaining to their awareness to victims and so forth. And one movie in particular that still on my memory is one about a guy named Omar, and I don't remember the other guy's name, but what it was, there were 2 parolees, and both of them was released together to a halfway house. But both of them had different attitudes. The other guy, the guy that I don't remember his name, he was scared to death. He didn't want to leave the halfway house for no reason. He was scared that he was going back to jail. Both of them had been down 20 plus years. But Omar, he wanted to live his own life and be productive and so forth. In other words, he was tired of people telling him what to do. So they let Omar do what he wanted to do, and he did get his own business put together. They was washing cars or something like that, and everything seemed like it was going all right with him, but the other guy stayed there. Okay, Omar eventually got back into drugs, got caught again, and went back to prison. Well, the guy that was scared to go out there in the world, he became part of the halfway house program, and he was keeping other people from going back to jail. And he started receiving a paycheck from that halfway house, and that was his job, to sit there and help other people and tell them about what it's like in jail, what you can expect, and what you should and should not do to keep yourself out. And I said, you know, that's what I would like to do if I got out. I would like to be a part of something that helps somebody else, so it would keep me in line with trying to keep from getting back in trouble. And working with the Department of Corrections is not really a bad idea from what I've seen.
Yes, you've taken 4 good time classes: living in balance, cage your rage, various faith-based programming, and chemical dependency treatment. That was way back in 2002. What kind of community service you do around the prison? You do anything for community service?
Well, I'm so busy with maintenance, I I don't have a lot of time to do much of anything but work.
Okay. Warden, what you have to say about, Mr. Coleman?
Well, Mr. Freeman, as he said, he works in our maintenance department. He is a trustee. He's a welder, so we do keep him pretty busy. I think that, he's done some good things, taken some substance abuse programming, but, long-term programming would definitely be beneficial to him. And I would also like to see him, take our victim impact course because, of his crimes naturally. I mean, there are victims and, he would have a lot to learn from that. But, I think he's learned a lot of things and he speaks freely as you hear, but I think those two things would be very beneficial.
I have no further questions.
We'll now hear from Mr. Randy Meyer. Mr. Meyer.
Good afternoon, Randy Meyer, Assistant VA in Jefferson Parish. After listening to Mr. Coleman, we remain opposed to his request. He's got a very extensive criminal history. He's serving time on 2 armed robbery convictions, as you know. I see limited programming in his record. He did the pre-release living in balance, anger management, and that one chemical dependency back in 2002. Mr. Coleman, and I think there's at least one other inmate that has the Blue Walters treatment programs. I'm glad I thought that was an issue, but I understand what the warden's saying, that that kind of changes things up a little bit on far as that goes. But, based on the warden's comments, I would tend to agree that he needs some additional programming to help him get out. And in Mr. Coleman's comments concerning why he was committed the offense, is concerning with the programs that he's had. I don't see the rehabilitation that I would like to see in order to let him out of jail. So we're opposed to that. And also, there's no family support. I don't see anyone there that's giving him any support to help him when he does get out, or if he would be getting out. So we're opposed at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. Mr. Coleman, is there anything you'd like to say before the board votes?
Oh, no, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Mr. Freeman, you ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Coleman, your disciplinary history is real good. Your supervision record is very poor. You're a 5th felony offender. You've only done not quite half of your time. My recommendation today is going to be to deny, but we need to try to get you in long-term substance abuse. You really, I didn't even try to get in a conversation with you about whether you're an addict or not, because you are an addict. You use way too many different kinds of drugs. You stated the normal thing. It was a high. You were chasing that high. You were chasing that stuff. So my vote today is to deny, but recommend he go to a long-term substance abuse program.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Russia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Coleman, based on an extensive criminal history, poor supervision history, express opposition from the Jefferson Parish DA's office and the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office, and you need additional programs, my vote is to deny your request.
Mr. Coleman, you have 2 votes to deny. My vote would be the same for the same reasons as my colleagues. We encourage you to get into some substance abuse programming and reapply at a later time. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.